Hey guys, hello and welcome to the official first part of my story, through addiction and recovery and just my story. I want to put it out there for you guys to just get to know me a little bit, to get to know why I'm starting this channel in the first place. Break the silence is, my main thing, to break the social stigma of addiction. It's a global epidemic. It's everywhere, and if you look it up, Google says 1 in 6 people suffer with addiction, but it's a hell of a lot more than that if you ask me, if you include everything. And it's way under talked about because of the social stigma that's attached to it. And I get it, it really does make you into a shitty person when you're in the midst of it, but it's a mental illness just like any other, and it's not treated that way. And I really want to change that. I want to attempt to, create this community, create this channel where it's a safe haven for people who are struggling to come and just feel like they're not so broken, they're not so alone. Like everything they do is just so wrong and they can't come back from this, because I promise it's not the truth. You can't come back from this. You just gotta break that cycle. You gotta break that hold that it has on you, because addiction is so much stronger than we could ever truly understand. And it just is all-consuming. It takes over every part of who you are. And if we don't start talking about it and bringing representation to it more, then the worse it's going to become, and the worse the cycle just remains. And I can't stand to see it continue to happen. I've lost so many friends, so many people that I grew up with are gone, no longer here to tell their story, no longer here to ever have a chance to get better. And I just see it happening again with this generation. It's so heartbreaking. I just can't stand to watch it happen while our government's failing us and the healthcare system's failing us. I get why it's so hard to want to be better when everything else around you is, a mess, because the state of the world these days, it just is. It's a mess. Everywhere that you look, guys, that is precisely the reason that we need to get our shit together, that we need to be paying attention and have our minds about us, because the deception's real. AI is taking over like never before, and it's scary, honestly, even to a sober mind and to a clear mind. It's terrifying what AI can do and how fast it's booming, and how anyone can create anything with a couple clicks on their phone and a damn whatever platform you want to go on. You can create things that are almost indistinguishable from reality at this point, and it's just going to keep getting better. So there's never been a better time to want to get your shit together. So that's why I am doing this. I'm gonna be putting a lot out there about myself, that, why should I do that? Why would I tell people such embarrassing parts of my life, especially considering the social stigma? I just really think that if we talk about it more and you guys see that I got as low as I did, and I truly didn't think I was ever going to make it out on the other side. When I tell you I was one of those people, I really didn't think I was going to see the day that I was not intoxicated in some form. And I just really think that it's important to try and bring some awareness to this, and to bring some, just hope to those struggling to know that they're not so alone. Yeah, that's the why, why I'm doing this. And, I guess to start my story, I started early as hell. First, I guess let's talk about my childhood a bit. I don't remember a whole lot of it, to be honest with you. I don't remember a lot of my life. A lot of kind of getting this story together has been piecing together my timeline and just trying to get it all straight away, because I just have done so much over the course of the years to fuck with my brain and just everything. It's been quite the journey through recovery, trying to get my mind back, because it was so far gone, and I'm still getting there, I'm still very much in the beginning of my journey. Anyway, again, my childhood was, my parents did their best. Both my parents are disabled. My mom has cerebral palsy, and my dad hurt his He broke his back falling out of a tree and then broke his shoulder rotator cuff as a pipe fitter, and that pretty much put him out of commission. And it made him kind of bitter as well. When I was about fourth grade is pretty much when I started to rebel a little bit. Up until then, I was pretty much a straight A student, but it was about fourth grade that I started to rebel, and I started off with a little thing. My grades started to fall terribly, and it started off small and escalated. My dad just was very bitter after getting hurt. He tried his best in a lot of ways, and I love him. We're trying to get there, but he was just very angry in a lot of ways, and we fueled each other's fire so terribly. I would act out because of how crazy it was here. It was just so loud, and I just couldn't stand it. All the screaming and just fighting, I just couldn't stand it. And I would try and keep everything so ridiculously hidden and, try and keep my act together as much as possible when I was actually falling apart. I was so young, but I started as a CNA my junior into senior year of high school. Went to school during that time, and then first I was a dining assistant. Before that, I started working at the nursing home at 16. I was a dining assistant, made it to CNA, and during that period of time, especially after I graduated high school, I went on a major party phase. While I was still in school, I'm not sure if I mentioned yet, I also have ADHD, so I pop around a lot. It's one of the main reasons that I haven't started recording in the first place, because I'm just all over the place like that, and my brain goes boop, boop, boop. But just bear with me, please. I don't know, in high school, I would mess around with whatever I could get my hands on, honestly. I started off just smoking weed, but I started smoking weed before school every day. And that kind of started progressing, and I always wanted what sounded the worst. Whatever was the most potent sounding or whatever, that's what I wanted. That's how I ended up on Oxys in 9th grade. And getting arrested for that, just for being an idiot, and telling a friend that I had it, and they told the police, and I was just an idiot, and I had such bad anxiety from such a young age, and it just really was not great. But then I got off of, that stuff for a while. I wasn't really addicted to it at that time, but after that ordeal with me getting in trouble at school and, obviously my parents finding out about all that and everything, I, got off the pills and whatnot, even though I wasn't really addicted to it at the time. I was just messing around and being a dumb kid. But after that, my addiction really started to take off with the drinking and just partying all the time. I was constantly, going back and forth to Seaside, just messed up out of my mind. We were just constantly wasted drinking at her house with my old friend Jen. I love her. She's a great person. She's doing great now, but we really went through one hell of a party phase on and off for some time. And, but, kind of during this time, definitely during this time, I was working at the nursing home, and first as a dining assistant, and then I became a CNA. And that's the thing, is I was still very much like a functioning addict alcoholic, even though I was so young. But I still worked as a CNA. I still, tried hard to keep up the functioning facade. I mean, I was doing well for a while, but things just got out of control the longer I, was going through it. Obviously, addiction has a way of doing that. But after a while, I met my friend Susan, and we started hanging out all the time. I chilled out a little bit on the partying, drinking phase. I was just smoking weed for the most part, and then drinking sometimes. And we would hang out almost every day. She was one of my best friends for sure, or she was my best friend at the time. We went from just smoking and drinking to progressing to whatever we could find, harder substances, pills, just whatever we could get our hands on. And she was always kind of a step farther than I was in our addiction. her other friend that is now unfortunately gone had introduced her to dope, heroin, and I always knew it was bad. I called it a sickness, not a drug, because of the way my parents drilled it so hard into my head that drugs were so bad. And, you know, it just pushed me to it, unfortunately, because drugs are so bad. I wish I would have listened, but, you know, it's okay, because I've learned so much and it made me who I am today. Sorry for this, he just won't stop. But, I really can't even record at all. He's been driving me so bonkers trying to get to record. He needs attention all the time, and I love him to death. But, Michael. Anyway, she got it from her friend, and I hated it before I ever did it. I called it a sickness, not a drug, because it is. And just my constant need to not feel like me and to quiet my brain as well as please others and fit in and whatever. I did it, and it was just a downhill spiral from there. It really was. I think this is going to be the end of part 1 for now, guys. Stay tuned for part 2 to whatever it ends up being. This is about breaking the silence, guys. This is the reason I'm doing this and sharing my story, is because I really think it's so ridiculously underrepresented, and this world we're living in these days is a crazy, scary place that we need to have our minds about us, and we need to stick together in this. And I get that addiction is so unbelievably isolating, and you just feel so alone and broken, and how could I ever possibly get my way out of this? Look at the state of the world, why should I? Just trying to provide a bit of a hope or a reason why, or just maybe ignite that, little bit in you, that flame in you to get things going in the right direction. But thank you guys so much for watching. To all my people who are still here, and all my people who want to share your story, please do. If you have anything that you want to contribute to the channel, please, I really, really need you guys to interact with this in whatever way that you can, so I know that I'm doing the right thing here. If I'm doing the right thing by recording this at all, or if I should do something else. I want to still stick with the social media thing, because I just think it's the smartest option. But, I really have a hard time recording and getting myself to do this, because I am so kind of all over the place a lot of the time, and I just get so sidetracked, and there's always something going on around me, and I just have so many insecurities, reasons why. But I have also a lot of reasons why I want to try and give this a shot. I have this calling so loud in my head that I just can't ignore. It's worth a shot, right? But I really, really would appreciate, the feedback, any interaction. If you're still here with me, please, I need to know I'm doing the right thing, because I have another idea where I want to help people with ADHD do AI and whatever. If you want to see that, let me know. But yeah, I think this is going to be the end of part 1 for tonight. But stay tuned for the rest, because I'm going to give this a shot, and I just want to know if you guys are feeling it or not. So I hope to speak to, or I will see you guys very soon. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. God bless.